Thank you so much for coming today at Hance Park. My name is Marilyn. I'm from Arizona Humanities. We are located in the Ellis Shackelford House, which is the big historic mansion you see here to my right. We are having open house today, tours for a house that was built in 1917. I just want to say thank you so much to the City of Phoenix Parks and Recreation Department for putting on this great day at the park here in the heart of downtown Phoenix. It is my pleasure to introduce Jon Scieszka from Book Pals, and I will just do a little intro here. Do you know the story of the Three Little Pigs? Well, you haven't heard this one. Hear the real story of the Big Bad Wolf as he sets the record straight. Jon from Book Pals will take you on a storytelling journey that you won't forget. And thank you.
Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll tell you a little secret. Nobody's ever heard my side of the story. Allow me to introduce myself to you. My name is Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this Big Bad Wolf thing got started, but I will tell you it might be because of our diet. Is it my fault that we eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs? I mean, if a hamburger and pizza were cute, people would probably think you were big and bad too. This is the real story of the Three Little Pigs. It all has to deal with a cup of sugar and a sneeze. And so it happened a long time ago. I was making a birthday cake for my dear old sweet granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I went down to my neighbor's house. Now, this neighbor is a pig, and I will tell you something. He's not very smart. He had his home built of straw. Can you believe that? Straw? Who builds their home out of straw? Well, I was looking for a cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny's cake. When I approached the door, of course, being of straw, when I knocked on the door, it just fell right in. Well, I don't want to be rude, so I walked up and I said, little pig, are you in? And there was no answer. And just when I was about to go back home, I felt a terrible sneeze coming on. I mean, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze, and you know what happened? The whole straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the straw was this pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. Well, I thought it'd be a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying right in the middle of the straw, so I did the next best thing and I just had lunch. Now, think of it, boys and girls, as a nice big cheeseburger lying right in the middle of the straw. Well, I felt a little better, but you know, I still didn't have the cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny. So I went down to the next neighbor's house. Now, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this neighbor was the first little pig's brother. Now, he was a little bit smarter, but not that much, because he had built his house, get this, out of sticks. Sticks. So I came up to the stick door and I rang the bell. Little pig, are you in? And I heard this reply. The pig said, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my tinny tin chin. Well, I was just about to go home when I felt another sneeze coming on. So I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze, and do you know what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? The whole stick house fell down. And there, right in the middle of the sticks, was the cute little pig, dead as a doornail, Wolf's honor. Well, you know what it's like. You can't just leave food lying out in the open because it will spoil. So I just did the next best thing, is I had another lunch. Now, boys and girls, think of it as a second helping. Well, I was starting to feel a lot better, but boys and girls, I did not have that cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny. So I went down to the next neighbor's house. Now, this neighbor was the first and second pig's brother. Now, this pig must have been the brains of the family because he had built his house out of bricks. So I approached the door and I rang the bell. And I said, little pig, are you in? And the little porker replied, go away, wolf. Don't ever come back here again. Oh, well, what a rude little porker. I still didn't have that cup of sugar. And I was just about to knock one more time and plead my case when I felt my cold coming on. I felt the nose. I felt a terrible huffing and a snuffing. And I could feel it. It was... And I sneezed a great sneeze. And then the pig said, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Well, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody makes fun of my granny, oh, that was it. So by the time the cops pulled up, of course I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and wheezing and trying to get into the house. Now that is the real story. I was framed. By the time the newspapers got a hold of the article and the TV stations, they thought that a wolf having a bad cold looking for a cup of sugar just wasn't newsworthy. So they made up all that jazz about me huffing and puffing and blowing the house down. And of course, they found out about the pigs I had for lunch, but that's not my fault. That's what we eat. Maybe you can borrow me a cup of sugar.